Hi, my name's Isaac Shutt. I'm an estate planning attorney. I'm licensed to practice law both in Texas and in Wyoming. And today I'm going to answer a question that actually people don't ask me very often. I have to sort of interject my 2 cents. And this question is it a good idea to put your kids on your bank account? So here's what happens. We'll have a nice elderly woman that comes into our office to have her will done or to have her will updated or something of that nature. And she says, you know what? Even though my will gives everything to my 3 kids equally, I've already got my daughter listed on my bank accounts, so she'll be able to handle everything without a probate of my will. So my will doesn't even really matter. Wrong. That's not the case. So first of all, we have to educate this lovely older lady of a couple of things. So for one, it's really, really important that you find out how you've added the daughter on that bank account. So have you added her as a joint tenant with right of survivorship? Have you added her as a convenience signer? So there's multiple options. And so when the older lady comes in and says, I've already added her, well, that sort of begs the question in my mind, how? What did you do? Now, 90% of the time, without saying a word, the bank will have added that daughter as a joint tenant with right of survivorship. Oftentimes without even having the account holder even sign anything. So what that means is mom has gone in and added this one daughter to her account as joint tenant with the right of survivorship, not even knowing that she's done that because the bank wasn't very clear with her in what she was doing. So let's talk about what joint tenant with right of survivorship is. If you add your daughter to your bank account as joint tenant with right of survivorship, for all intents and purposes, that means your daughter owns that account as well. So potentially if she gets divorced, if she gets sued, if she creates a car wreck, anything like that, potentially her creditors could get into your account because you basically added her as a co-owner. But it's more than that. If you put your daughter on as a joint tenant with the right of survivorship, she's a co-owner who will own that account 100% if you pass away. So to go back to my example earlier where I said the older lady comes in and says, I've already got my daughter added to my account, but I have 3 kids and I want them to inherit equally. I know my daughter will take care of that after I pass away. She's on my account as a joint tenant with the right of survivorship. She'll divvy everything up. Don't count on that because guess what? Under Texas law and under federal law, if you pass away and the daughter was the joint tenant with right of survivorship, she owns the account 100%. And probably whether or not the money is split between all 3 siblings will basically be up to that daughter. And it's even worse than that. Because since it's legally her money at the time of your death, if she shares the money with her siblings as you had wanted, and it's quote unquote her decision to share that money, that will be treated as a gift from your daughter, not from you as the deceased account holder. So you could see that will create problems because, well, obviously the daughter may not choose to do the right thing and divvy up the money. I know your daughter would never do that, but some daughters do that. But the other problem is the tax man will treat that as a gift from your daughter. So that could trigger some tax reporting or even the payment of taxes if you've set your daughter up as the joint tenant and then she ends up splitting the money after your death. So there are a lot of unintended consequences to putting one child on your bank account as a co-owner, especially as a joint tenant with right of survivorship. And this is especially problematic because, like I said earlier, so many times the banks do this automatically without even really telling you that that's what they're doing. So you have to be careful, you have to speak up for yourself, and you have to know if I'm going to add this child on my account, how am I adding them? So If you're going to add them, I might make some suggestions about some ways to do it other than joint tenant with right of survivorship. So one option would be to have an attorney like me create a power of attorney for you. If you have a power of attorney and you list your daughter as the agent under that power of attorney, if you become incapacitated or you become unable to handle your own bill paying or things like that, well then in that event, your daughter would be able to take in her power of attorney, and the bank then will then acknowledge that power and allow her to handle transactions, banking transactions and bill paying on your behalf using that power of attorney. So that's not even really adding her on the account at all. That's just giving her power of attorney, and then if and when she needs to handle bank transactions for you, she would be able to take that power of attorney into the bank. Another way of doing it is adding your daughter as a convenience signer on the account. And what that means is she's not an owner. It's not her money like it would be adding her as a joint tenant. Adding her as a convenience signer just basically means for your convenience, she has the ability to sign your name, which means she's basically working for you to do the same kinds of things that you would have done could you do it yourself. So she can bill pay and do those kinds of things for your benefit as a convenience signer. Now again, the banks don't do those things. They don't offer those solutions. They will usually, unceremoniously just add your kiddo to the account as a joint tenant without saying much about it at all. So you have to speak up and say, if you want to add your child to an account, specifically how you want that done. So first you have to decide, is it a good idea to put a kiddo on the account in any way anyway? Maybe it's not a good idea because they're not responsible or just not diligent or that kind of thing. But if you make the decision that you'd like them on the account, then be vocal and educated about how you're adding that child to your bank account. Now again, I hope you found this video helpful. My name's Isaac Shutt. I'm an estate planning attorney licensed to practice law both in Texas and in Wyoming.